We do typically see, with fires of this size and scale, substantive impacts to wildlife, and most, very sadly, will lose their lives. They will lose habitat, and those few survivors often present with very serious burns and other injuries. So, at an absolute minimum, we must be doing our absolute best to protect our very unique flora and fauna here in Australia, and immediately stop any commercial killing of our wildlife right now.
I mean, isn't the problem the reason they're culled is because there are too many?
Look, I think that it's very important for people to understand kangaroos and their role in our ecosystem. They are very important to the propagation of native grasses and soil health, and they only produce one young a year. So contrary to popular opinion, our kangaroos only typically have one young each year, and the survival rate of those joeys in the wild is less than 70%. So it's probably time we start busting a few myths about our kangaroos and treat them with the unique respect they deserve.
There is one argument, Lisa, as I'm sure you'll know, that culling them may actually help aid the recovery of plants and smaller animals, because kangaroos can have such an impact, particularly on an area that is trying to recover from a wildfire.
Well, I think it's a bit early to say, Lorna, at the moment. It'll be very important for independent ecological analysis to be undertaken after these fires, when we have an opportunity as a community and a society to see exactly what's happened.
So it's called the Kangaroo Harvesting Program. What is it exactly?
So the Kangaroo Harvesting Program was introduced by the Victorian State Government in 2019, and what it does is it sets annual quotas for the commercial killing of kangaroos, and those kangaroos are killed predominantly for their skins, for meat, and largely for pet food. So the quota that's been set for the Grampians region for this year is, from memory, just over 22,000, given there are likely to be thousands of kangaroos impacted as a result of these fires. The loss of life could actually be quite substantive in comparison to that annual quota.
If the culls are stopped, I mean, there's been a backlash from international partners refusing to, I'm thinking in the United States, not buying products that have kangaroo in them and that sort of stuff. What do you think the environmental impact would be if the culling program was abandoned?
I think we all need to learn to live in harmony with our kangaroos, and certainly a lot of people that are living on the land deeply appreciate the importance of a healthy ecosystem. So what we should be trying to do, instead of killing our native species and putting the ecosystem out of balance, is ensuring that we are planting native trees. We are supporting and propagating flora and fauna, because we are increasingly seeing substantive climate change impacts as a result of not doing that. And the other thing that also needs to be taken into account, here in Australia, it's estimated that over 10 million animals, wildlife, lose their lives due to road trauma. And certainly last year at Wildlife Victoria, we saw a nearly 30% actually increase in kangaroos that we responded to. So we're not just killing them for commercial reasons, but there's a lot of human impacts on the species as well. Road trauma is a big one.
So, Lisa, you've made these calls to the Victorian authorities to halt the culling this year. Have you received any response to them? Because as far as I'm aware, the programme is still ongoing.
No, we haven't received any response, Lorna, and certainly Wildlife Victoria does engage with government a lot, as you can appreciate, given the public service we provide. We are a charity, but nevertheless have really good insight and data and statistics about what's happening to our wildlife out there. So very much welcome conversation with government on the issue and provision of any data that we can provide to assist in the decision making.